In Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 22 says, "Set aside a tenth of all." Why did God command his people to give him the first tenth of their income? Well, he tells us why. So that the Lord your God may bless you in all the work of your hands. That means tithing doesn't cost, it pays. When you give God the first tenth of your income, he promises to bless all the work of your hands. So the question is not, does the church need your tithe, but do you need God's blessing? God's work won't go broke if you don't tithe, but how well will you do if you disobey him? Paul writes and says, on the first day of every week, each one of you should set aside a sum of money in keeping with your income. You say, I thought tithing was only the rule under Old Testament law. Did the New Testament Christians practice it too? Well, consider Paul's words. He says each one of you should set aside a sum of money in keeping with your income. That's proportionate giving. And since the only Bible the New Testament believers had was the Old Testament, what sum of money do you think they gave to God? Certainly not less than a tenth. Jesus told the Pharisees, "Woe to you, teachers of the law. You give a tenth, but you have neglected the more important matters of the law, justice, mercy, and faithfulness. You should have practiced the latter, that is tithing, without neglecting the former." So here's the question. Would you give God less under grace than you do under the law? The tithe is the minimum, but only your love for God and his kingdom can determine the maximum. I want to encourage you today, as we've been talking over the past several days about obedience, to obey in this area like you do all the other areas. And see, as the Bible says, if he'll not pour out a blessing upon you. I'm Ray Jones, and that's another hard truth for your day.